Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Top Hat Gaming Man here, and today I have decided to talk about the Nintendo Virtual Boy. Yeah! A few days ago I sent out a tweet via Twitter basically stating that I feel it is a crying shame that we never got to see any Virtual Boy games ported over to the Nintendo 3DS. Which would have made perfect sense really, as the Virtual Boy was a 3D platform and the 3DS also supports 3D. But sadly that looks like it's not going to happen now, because obviously the 3DS is coming to the very end of its lifespan, and obviously we've got the Nintendo Switch now as well, and that doesn't support 3D. So there's not much chance of seeing Virtual Boy games re-released anytime soon, which is a shame, as I said. Something else from my tweet is some of the replies I got. Many people believe the reason why those games never got ported over to the 3DS is because Nintendo is ashamed of the Virtual Boy, and they want the world to completely forget about the platform existing. Whilst this sounds like a fairly plausible theory, I suppose, when you take into account how badly the Virtual Boy sold, I can't see it being true. In fact, actually, it sold so bad that it's Nintendo's second worst selling platform of all time. Only the Nintendo 64 disk drive sold less, selling only well, I can't tell you how many it sold because I'm not throwing random numbers out there, but there was only about 7 games released on that platform, where the Virtual Boy at least got 22 games. So yes, you could see why they would potentially want to gloss it over, but personally I don't think that's the case at all. Because if you look close enough, Nintendo referenced the Virtual Boy fairly often. Like, one of my replies to my tweet even mentioned that you get the Virtual Boy as an item in that game, is it Tamagotchi Life? Can't pronounce it quite right, bit of a weird name. But yes, that game, apparently you can get the Virtual Boy as an item. And going back further than that, I remember playing WarioWare Inc. in 2003. And I remember it's a mini game madness sort of game. So you get like 3 seconds from multiple different Nintendo games. And within that, you would get to play some Virtual Boy games in 3-second stretches. And one game I remember in particular definitely being in it, Mario Clash. You had bloody Mario Clash in WarioWare Inc. And if we want to go further from that as well, Super Smash Bros. Meal, I like saying meal, on the GameCube in 2002. That game references the Virtual Boy a fair amount. And being a European, the Virtual Boy was never released on my continent, so I'd never even heard of the thing until the 21st century. In fact, it was Super Smash Bros. That pointed me to its existence at all. Because if I remember, you'd collect all the trophies, wouldn't you? And I remember some of the trophies, you would get a description of what game they was from. And again, some of the trophies were from Virtual Boy games. And then it would have the name of the platform next to it, and it would be Virtual Boy. I was like, what the bloody hell is that? And then I remember in another Smash Bros. Game, it might have even been Smash Bros. Meal, or it could have been Brawl, one or the other. I remember they had a cabinet in the background of one of them where you'd have all different Nintendo consoles. And again, the Virtual Boy, it's in clear shot. So Nintendo don't want you to forget about it. It's an obscure piece of history they like to reference every now and again. So whilst we haven't seen these games on the 3DS, I don't believe it's due to that reason. I personally think it could be due to the fact that at present you can only play those old games in full 3D. They was never released in 2D, so therefore Nintendo would actually have to do some work so you can play the games in 2D and 3D on the 3DS. So some actual work would have had to be put into it to get the games out, where I suppose they could use the resources better off sending staff to do more important jobs. Like, if they can't be bothered to translate Mother 3, they're not going to be bothered, are they, to make Teleraboxer 2D. And speaking of that, actually, I've played some of the Virtual Boys games via emulation in 2D, and a lot of them don't even function right in 2D. Like, if you play Mario Clash, for example, in 2D, the way the levels are structured, it just completely messes up your perspective unless you're viewing it in 3D. The game doesn't function properly. So turning it down, Mario Clash down to 2D, you're not really going to get of the proper experience you would get with the Virtual Boy. And anyway, whilst we're talking about the Virtual Boy, I might as well quickly touch on the headaches and sore eye nonsense people won't shut up about in my comment section. It makes me want to read because it's so ridiculous. Like, headaches and sore eyes, that has nothing to do with the Virtual Boy. That's just 3D in general. So if you're going to get a headache from the Virtual Boy, you're just as likely to get it if you played the 3DS in 3D mode for hours and hours at a time. You're simply just not meant to watch 3D for long durations of time. And you get that warning up on the 3DS, the same as you get up on the Virtual Boy, warning you against it. So, if you're stupid enough to play a 3D game for hours and hours on end, then I'm sorry, you deserve sore eyes and you deserve a headache. Anyway, I hope you feel more informed and more well educated about the Virtual Boy. Let me know in the comment section why you think we've not seen any ports of Virtual Boy games on the 3DS. Maybe I've left something out and you can let me know down in the comment section below. Cheerio!
Born in London in 86, a mustachioed gent named Richard Parliament. He loves to wrestle, but he loves one more thing: handhelds round the world. He fights in his comments and he argues with fans. It's a problem no one understands. If there's two things he loves, it's getting at handhelds round the world. Drinking fine wine, fighting fanboys, handhelds round the world.
Top Hat Gaming Man.